Hey fam, Master Coach G here, thriving after 50, mind, body, soul. And today, let's talk menopause. That is the topic of today's subject here on Thriving After 50. The subject has become so front and center that the federal government is funding $275 million toward research and education with an upcoming documentary called The M Factor about menopause in 2025. It is a subject that we need to know as much about it as possible. I know that, we have the hot flashes and it disrupts our sleep. We have the mood swings and and all that kind of stuff, the night sweats and all that, but it does affect our health as well. We need to know this information so that way we can do our part so that we can make sure that we are staying healthy, our total whole well-being. That's why this is an important subject. Hey, this is Master Coach G, and I will see you on the inside. Hey, Master Coach G here, thriving after 50, mind, body, soul. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about menopause. This has been a subject that I've been seeing coming up a lot lately, whether it's in the news or whether it's emails that I'm getting or something of that nature. It's a lot of information that's coming across my path about menopause. So I stopped to do some research and decided I was going to do an episode on menopause because it's something that we need to know more about. I know that we are familiar with the hot flashes and the mood swings and the night sweats and, and lack of sleep and things of that nature. But we need to understand how those things are affecting our health and our well-being. It's become so much of a subject that front and center stage that the federal government is funding $275 million toward research and education with an upcoming documentary called The M Factor about menopause in 2025. Menopause to me is like being on a amusement park being on a ride at an amusement park. It's like a roller coaster. It's like you have your highs, you have your lows, you have your ups, you have your downs. Whether we like it or not, it's just really what it is. So when you hear the saying, say it is what it is, this is that, okay? This is definitely that. It is what it is because there's nothing that we can really do other, we can help to minimize the night sweats and the hot flashes and things of that nature, which we're going to talk about. But it is like being on a ride at an amusement park. It involves so many significant drops like in our hormone level. It's like the estrogen, the proestrogen, that leads to symptoms, that sometimes that we don't, some things that we don't know. The things that we are aware of is, like I said, the hot flashes and night sweats, the mood changes, the sleep deprivation. Those things are vital because when we know how to handle them, when we know what to do, they become so minute. Seriously, I mean, I don't even know the last time I had a hot flash, and I will share with you how I was able to be able to overcome the night sweats and all that stuff. Management options include a lifestyle change. Okay, let me just put that out there. Yes, you could take, they have several things on the market that you can take. You could even do all natural supplements. Not to say that you're not going to have a hot flash. Now, I'm not saying I don't have hot flashes. I can tell you that it's been a while. I mean, I don't even remember the last one. But it's because of the lifestyle change that I made. I used to have the hot flashes. The mood swings was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I wasn't sleeping, and everything was really off. My eating habits was off because that's a part of it too. The weight gain, and we're going to talk about all that. But there are 3 key stages to menopause. Okay, let's start there. There's the pre-menopause, which is a transition from being like on a regular cycle to like having one like every now and again, or maybe like every other month, something like that. Usually you experience that through premenopause because your ovaries gradually starts to produce less estrogen, which causes an irregular cycle. That's how you start to have an irregular cycle, because your ovaries are not producing as much hormones. Okay, so it does interrupt the flow of your cycle. Okay, so, and you may even experience hot flashes, night sweats, and mood swings even in the menopause stage. Okay, then you have menopause itself. Okay, which that I call that like full blown out the park menopause, where you have more frequent night sweats. I know my daughter was saying that she would wake up just drenched. Sometimes she would have to get up and change her clothes 2 or 3 times a night. And no, she is only 38, but when she was experiencing this was from the result of some medication that she was on. It caused her to go into pre-menopausal state at the age of 32. So she experienced the full blown, with an exception of the cycle, she still had her cycle. So you can still, some medication can send you into premenopause, but menopause is when you definitely just kind of like for 12 consecutive months. When you've gone 12 consecutive months without a cycle, that means that your ovaries are not producing any more estrogen. Okay, which means that once they stop releasing the eggs and the estrogen, then that means you have stopped your cycle. Then you have the post-menopause. Yep. And this stage begins after menopause, usually after the first year. Then that's, excuse me, that's when you start to experience these other symptoms, But it does, if you want to be able to not just manage them, but to almost, I'm not going to say totally eliminate, but I would tell you what, you have it so much under pretty much doggone control that you won't even remember that you're going through menopause, that you've already gone through menopause, because of the symptoms are not coming as frequently, and that's through a lifestyle change. Okay, because like the symptoms, like the hot flashes, that's the reason why I said in the beginning that I can't remember the last time I had a hot flash. You know why? Because I exercise, and my eating and my sleeping, all those things play a contributing factor when you're in postmenopause state. Okay, you can minimize the hot flashes that you have, even the night sweats. I don't even know when the last time. I mean, my daughter was probably young, and even though I may have not been exercising, I was still active. But now for the last 10 years, I can tell you definitely have not had a night sweat. Definitely have not. So, those are the symptoms, and they kind of get full blown. You may experience a little bit in premenopause, and you'll experience something through menopause. But after that, now at this point, this is when the statement comes in, it is what it is, because this is what it is. It is what it is. But again, if you make some small adjustments in your lifestyle, you can come to be able to have very few long-term, okay? Because the goal here is you want to be able to sustain this for long-term. You don't want it to be where you're doing it and then you're good, and then all of a sudden you stop doing it, because the symptoms are going to come back. And here's the other thing. When I say it affects your health, because this increases your risk of osteoporosis. The reason why it increases your risk of osteoporosis is because your body is not producing the estrogen, and your your estrogen feeds your bones, and if it's not there to feed the bones anymore, so then your bones are going to get weak and brittle. That's the reason why exercise comes in handy, because it does make your bones strong. Okay, so to help minimize the risk of osteoporosis and cardiovascular diseases. Okay, so the common symptoms are, and if you're over 50, you probably have experienced this. Oh, let me just say this real quick before I get into the symptoms. I go to the gym with this young lady, and I've been noticing that because I was, excuse me, like 13 when I started my cycle. And I noticed that, girls are getting younger and younger and younger, like 9, 10, 11. I'm like, wow, they're still girls. They're little girls, It's like they got to worry about a pad and all that stuff. It just doesn't seem right. And, because they have from the age of 9 until 50 plus, maybe. Okay. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I go to the gym with this young lady, and we was talking about menopause and all that stuff. And, we was talking about her mom and I. Her mom is a year older than me, and I'm going to be 67 on this Sunday. And her mom is 68 already, going to be 69, as a matter of fact, this month. It's September. And she said her mom still has a cycle. It's like the premenopausal state. That's where she's at. Like because she has one, it'll come on for like 2 days and it'll go off. Then she'll go another month and it'll come on like 2 days or something like that. So it's not like completely gone. It's almost 69 years old. I'm like, oh my God, that's like 60 years. That's like 60 years of having a cycle. That is insane to me. But I did notice that the girls are getting younger and younger, which means that they'll probably go through menopause younger as well. But of course, the common symptoms are the hot flashes, and that's because you suddenly feel warm. It's like an intense feeling. It's like, ooh, like you want to just stick your head in the freezer. So, and if you have them, I don't even have to even explain to you what that's like. And and the night sweats come from having hot flashes that occur while you're sleeping. So that's why you have the night sweats. And of course it does disrupt your sleep because you wake up and you're drenched. I've never had them like that, but I remember 1 or 2, but I've never really had like the whole night sweat thing. But the mood change, man, I'm telling you, that can include like the irritability. It can even lead to depression. You put yourself at risk when you have those mood swings. You're like a pendulum. You're back and forth. Almost like borderline bipolar, if you will, because that's what it feels like, and you don't even have control over it. You want to control it, but it's hard to control, But the thing that we do have to be careful of is we have to be careful of knowing that we're at risk for depression. That's really important, and we have to know that. That's the reason why I'm doing this podcast, is because there's things that we need to know, because it's easy to step over into the realm of depression, and it's hard to get out of it. So we need to understand that those mood swings, we need to be careful of those. We can't have too many mood swings in the negative side, okay? We got to have that balance, because if not, you're going to end up at risk for depression. Now, yes, it disrupts your sleep. Some people even have insomnia or difficulty staying asleep, and I get that. But again, if you have an active lifestyle, whether it's dancing, swimming, biking, walking, lifting weights, whatever that is, that also helps you with your sleep at night. So that's why it's important to have physical activity during the daytime, because it will definitely help you with your sleep, even if you are in a menopausal state. It's okay, because you can develop a pattern. You can develop a pattern of getting a good night's sleep and staying asleep all night. I actually have an audio. If anybody's interested, please leave me a message, inbox me. All my information is going to be in the podcast, so please leave me a message, and I will send it to you free of charge. It's actually a really, really good audio to help you to fall asleep and stay asleep all night. So, yeah, hit me up on that one. Vaginal dryness is another thing that leads to very discomfortable sex. Yes, it does. Speaking from experience, it is very, very, very uncomfortable. And that's one of the things that we have to be mindful of. So yes, another one of the pillars, which is, staying hydrated, is one of the things that will definitely help us with that. Yes, weight gain. Got to throw that in there, because a lot of women see that when they go through menopause, they see that they start to gain weight. You know why? Because your metabolism is changing, okay? It slows down, which can lead to weight gain. That's why it's important to stay active, because the more active you are, the more you can maintain a healthy weight. Maintaining a healthy weight will help you with your cholesterol, your A1C, your blood pressure, and your weight. So that's why it's important to pay attention to that, because when you go through menopause, your metabolism is going to slow down. So being physically active is going to help you to be able to maintain a healthy weight, because you don't want to have a stroke or a heart attack, and you're putting yourself at risk with the weight gain when you don't when you're not aware of the weight gain because of the menopause and because of your metabolism is slowed down. Excuse me. Thinning hair and dry skin. Oh my goodness. Well, the thinning hair I don't have a problem with. The dry skin, it's like, yeah, absolutely. And yes, I do hydrate. I drink a lot of water, but I find myself drinking extra water because when the older you get, you lose the vitality of your skin. It's almost like a rubber band. If you keep stretching and stretching and stretching, it's not going to go back to its original form. And that's the reason why I think it's important for us to let our daughters and young granddaughters know how important it is to hydrate their skin, not just I know a lot of people like to moisturize. Okay, I'm not speaking against moisturizing. I'm saying that hydration is better. It helps you to keep the elasticity in your skin. Thinning hair is a part of menopause. So yes, it can happen, but that's because of your body is not producing the estrogen, and your ovaries are not producing the estrogen that your body needs in order for your hair not to thin out. So no alarm there. But the dry skin, yes, you will have to stay hydrated. So if you're looking for like any type of lotions or creams, if you're 50 and older, even if you're younger than 50, honestly, because I get my granddaughter, she's only 9, hydration, not just moisturizing. Hydration is so important to your skin. Okay. Those are some of the things that we need to be aware of when it comes to menopause. Now, here's some of the health risks. I'm going to go over those real quick. I already spoke about the osteoporosis. We want to make sure that we take care of our bones. And I highly recommend that if you're over 50, that you have a bone density test. I'm not a fan. I do it like every 10 years because I want to make sure that my bones are strong. But I do highly recommend that if you're 50 and older to get a bone density test. You want to know the strength of your bones. Exercising, whether it's swimming, kickboxing, cycling, whatever your thing is, dancing, do it because it helps to keep your bones strong. And you get that bone density test. And you will be able to see how your bone just regenerates itself. So that's really important. Every 10 years, I get one every 10 years. I'm not required to do it any more than that because my bones are relatively healthy because I do exercise. I weight train. Well, that's about to change. So, but cardiovascular disease is another thing. You don't want to put yourself at risk for heart disease, especially after menopause, due to the change in our cholesterol level. And that's one of the things that I was not aware of, nor was any of the doctors that I saw. I've been going to the gym like for the last 10 years, and I've always watched what I eat. Excuse me. And I make sure that I work out, at least 5 days a week. Well, the doctor kept telling me this, like, your cholesterol level is a little elevated. I'm looking at them like, that's almost impossible. I'm like, that's almost impossible. How can it be elevated when I'm on a healthy diet? I exercise 5 days a week for at least 2 hours. So how can my cholesterol level be a little elevated? Excuse me. I just couldn't wrap my brain around that. So I started doing some research, and I found out that my cholesterol was elevated by a few numbers because of my estrogen. I didn't have any estrogen. I had a hysterectomy over 30 years ago, and I did not get on any hormone replacement therapy. So therefore, I didn't have any hormones. So that affected my cholesterol level. I was not even aware of that. It had been like 25 years before I became aware that having the hysterectomy and having no hormones affected my cholesterol level. And I'm sure most people didn't know. Even when I told my doctor, even now, when I go and have lab work, I always tell my doctor, my cholesterol level is going to be a couple numbers high. That's because I had a hysterectomy. And when they call me back, they say, yep, you were right. But I know why. So I just continue to stay active because I know that my lifestyle change, regular exercise, a balanced diet, adequate sleep, stress management, all helps to alleviate, you know, the things that menopause can bring on, especially when we talk about managing our health. Okay, because again, exercise, balanced diet, adequate sleep, stress management. I mean, you got what, two or three of the five, six pillars right there. Now you do have options if you are not producing any more estrogen. Yes, you can do hormone replacement therapy, which they call HRT. That contains, hormone replacing. What you take a pill and it's supposed to replace the hormones that your body is not creating. I chose not to do that because I'm not a pharmaceutical type of gal, and even though that was 30 years ago, hey, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. And I had 12 doctors trying to convince me that I needed it. And I probably did need something, but I just wasn't willing to take that chance. So I never did hormone replacement therapy. But I did do some non-hormonal therapy treatments, some herbal, Now you can do, the doctors they can recommend medication such as like antidepressants that helps you with the mood swings and the hot flashes. I personally don't do that. I rather exercise. I rather go to the gym. That's my antidepressant. And I just rather stick with the natural remedies. Some women find relief in using natural supplements. Soy, flaxseed. Things of that nature. I would say consult with a holistic healthcare provider. If you were looking for some supplements that you want to take for the mood swings, the hot flashes, and things of that nature. But I think in understanding menopause and the effects that it have, and us being able to manage the symptoms, because that's what they are, they're symptoms, to be able to manage that so that our overall well-being at every stage in life will be good. Because menopause can bring about hormonal changes, and some things, get on the decline. And those are the things that we have to pay attention to. We have to pay attention to the health factors when we're talking about menopause. That is the number one thing that I want to make sure that I'm focusing on. Yeah, the hair loss, and yeah, the dry skin and the vaginal dryness, all that stuff is important. But we want to look at the health risk. Okay, and we want to make sure that we are keeping ourselves healthy when it comes to that. So make sure you're getting your bone density tests. And stay on top of that, especially if you're over 50. It will definitely help you to be able to get a gauge on where you are with your bone density, and if you need to increase your activity, because that will definitely help. And make sure you're taking in an adequate amount of calcium and vitamin D as well. Do some weight-bearing exercise. I don't care if you're just picking up, a gallon of milk or whatever. Do a couple curls while you got it in your hand before you put it in the refrigerator. So yeah. And again, you also have the option of the HRT. But we want to make sure that if you can, stay clear of that, because, we don't want that to kind of trickle on into something else. So again, the activity, the sleep, the balanced diet, again, those are the pillars. It doesn't matter what your ailment is. It doesn't matter what your condition is. These 6 pillars will always, and add a million more to that, because it's a principle. These 6 pillars are principles. If you don't believe me, I challenge you. To just try it. I challenge you to try it. And I also challenge you to do your own research, to do more research about whatever it is that you're experiencing. Yes, we all have, we may experience, let me say that, we may experience the mood swings and the night sweats and all that stuff. But do your research on if it's something that's going on that's different than what I spoke about. And there's other information out there. It's like, because your bladder starts to, when you had a hysterectomy, your bladder starts to kind of fall a little bit, which affects, you being able to hold your urine. So there's just so many things that we need to understand about our bodies. So like I said, if there's something that's going on with you, Google it. Do some research. There's so much information out here. There's no reason why we have to sit here and depend on one source. Now, I'm not saying don't believe your doctor. I'm not saying don't trust your doctor. What I'm saying is empower your own self, because there may be something that you may be able to do that will be able to help you to better treat your condition. Okay, and the thing is that you don't want to sit back here and be going through menopause gaining weight. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So if you know that that's one of the things of going through menopause, and you can say, oh, I don't know why I'm gaining weight. Well, you're going through menopause. So that's one of the things you have to take into account. And that's the reason why even your mood swings, it can lead to depression. We need to be aware of this kind of stuff. We really need to be aware of that, because we can't keep swinging too far one way. We got to have a balance. We have got to have a balance. And lack of estrogen affects our brain. It affects our hair. It affects our everything. So that's the reason why we have to be aware of this and do our part. We have to be willing to do our part. We have to. Okay. And so this is just to bring about awareness. That's what this is about today. So that's the reason why I wanted to talk about our metabolism and our hormones and why sometimes we be going through what we're going through. We need to understand that. Okay. And like I said, it's becoming such a big thing that the federal government is funding $275 million to research and education. Okay, so when it becomes available, we need to make sure. I'm going to stay on top of this because hey, it may be some new information out there that I'm not even aware of, but I tell you what, I'm going to stay on top of it. And when I do, I'm going to make sure I bring it to you. Okay. Hey, that's what I have for you today. I hope this episode has added value to your life. Thank you for joining me here on Thriving After 50, Mind, Body, Soul. But before I get out of here, I want to give a shout out to my listeners here in the United States, Canada, Australia, Russia Federation, Mexico, Belgium, Ireland, South Africa, Brazil, Nigeria, United Kingdom, Germany, France, Bangladesh, Ukraine, Kuwait, India, Hong Kong. I appreciate all of you listening, and the listener audience is still growing, y'all. Hey, if this podcast was a benefit to you, please subscribe to my channel so that every time I drop a new episode, you will be the first to get it. Follow me. Please write me a review, leave me a comment, say, hey, what's up, Coach G? I look forward to hearing from you all. And share this podcast with somebody. It may be a benefit to them as well. Hey, I appreciate you so much. And please remember that knowledge applied is power. This is Master Coach G, and I will see you on the next level.